Welcome, everyone. So excited to have you here. Happy New Year. It's 2024. That is very, very exciting. Welcome to A Turn of Events, where we help put a positive spin on the future of your business. I'm Annette Naif, the CEO and creative director of Naif Productions. We're a strategic event production company. And I'm also a coach helping wedding and event planners start their own business from A to Z. Super exciting. If you haven't joined us over at our Facebook group, go over to Event Planners Society. We're over there. We're doing lots of things. I'm going to have a boot camp, a 5-day boot camp that I'm going to be doing at the end of February. So check us out. Get over on the Facebook group and you'll learn all about it. So I hope you all had a wonderful holiday. Let's get started. I am very excited about this topic. We're going to talk about how to leverage LinkedIn to get wedding and event clients. Very, very exciting. I have been dabbling on LinkedIn for so long, but there's so many things that so many platforms for us to go on, but we're going to talk about LinkedIn. So my friend, Karen Yankovich, is the CEO of UpLevel Media, a LinkedIn marketing firm delivering profitable, cutting-edge LinkedIn strategies, and host of the popular podcast, Good Girls Get Rich. Karen is an internationally recognized LinkedIn expert and consultant who is a genius at helping businesses use LinkedIn and PR profitably. Karen, how are you, my dear?
I'm so excited to be here with you, Annette. It is so fun to finally do this with you.
I know. It's been a while, and we've known each other for a very, very long time.
Yeah, we don't talk enough, so this is great.
And I see your video. You're so good at getting on video. It makes me feel bad that I don't do video as much as I do.
You know what? I mean, it's easier for me to turn on my camera than to write a blog post, so that's what I do.
I hear you, but you're so good at that. So you guys, if you have any questions, please pop them in the chat. We'd love to answer them for you. So let's get started. First of all, why don't you just tell everybody, how did you get over to this LinkedIn platform and start going crazy at it?
So I'm a little bit older than social media. So my background is in sales and marketing, and it was relationship sales. I was in, B2B type sales and very much relationship sales at technology in the tech industry, but relationship oriented. And, when I started to shift my business, when that just wasn't working for me anymore, and I started to shift my business more to online marketing, what I realized was that all of this stuff is so great, like all of these tools that we have. But at the end of the day, people still buy from other people. So it became, to me, even more important that we established our own personal brand, right? So even though I was helping people with social media in general, I was driving everybody to LinkedIn and saying, well, first we need to strengthen your personal brand, because I believe when your personal brand is strong, it immediately elevates your business brand. And we're so used to, I'm not going to say used to, but it's so easy for us to promote our products and our services, and we love our pens or our classes or whatever, but it's not as easy to promote ourselves, right?
Right.
So I was like, no, we gotta make sure that you are solid too. So as I started to do that, I started to focus more on LinkedIn, and the more you learn about online marketing, the more you understand the importance of niching. And I was asked to speak all over the place on LinkedIn. I further niched down to LinkedIn, primarily for women. Although I do have a lot of men, I don't really care what your body parts are. I just want women to feel more included on LinkedIn, and infusing PR into this, because it's about the relationships, right? So that's kind of where I'm at right now. That's kind of my business is solely focused on that right now. And, my goal is for there to be more wealthy women in the world. And it comes down to creating the brand of you first.
Yes, I love that. Okay, so let's start. How can we optimize LinkedIn, my LinkedIn profile, for attracting wedding and event clients?
Yeah. So at the end of the day, your LinkedIn profile is about you, right? It's not about your business. It's not about your wedding and event planning business. So what you want to do is this is why PR is important. You want to step into this with credibility. You want to talk about not just, I'm certified in organizing events or something like that, right? Because I'm guessing a lot of people that are event planners are. You want to showcase what makes you unique. You want to showcase what makes you different. You want to add in your personality and your personal flavor into this, because you're going to be working pretty closely with these people, right? And they need to know that they're working with somebody that they jive with, right? But at the same time, you also want to think about what are these people searching for that you want to come up as the search result. So you
Mhm.
want to write your profile using those keywords. So if somebody's doing a geographically based event, you want to make sure that you're using those geographic words in there if that's something that you specialize in. If you specialize in weddings or in something else, you want to use those words because people are searching for that, right? And you need to come up as that with that search when they're searching for that. You want yourself to come up. So the first thing is you got to make it crystal clear who you are, who you help, and how you help them.
Yes, yes, for sure. And I think also main that's also like when you have you should have a good picture,
Hmm.
obviously, right?
Hmm.
That's important.
Yeah.
Then so you don't want to say I'm the CEO of Naif Productions, right?
Well, because
Nobody,
nobody's searching for that. Nobody's
nobody
searching for
cares.
CEOs, right? Yeah.
Right.
You want to talk about it. You want to talk confidently about what you do, but you want to, again, I help, entrepreneurs or whoever you help, women, I help people, whatever, who you are, who you help, and how you help them.
Yes.
Right. So that's what you want to do. So people look at that and go, that's me. She's talking to me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because the more you niche down, the more people are going to say, oh my gosh, this is exactly who I've been looking for, as opposed to all of the event planners out there. Right.
Yes.
You are the one that they're looking for. And it
Yeah.
doesn't eliminate other business. It actually helps you self-select for the exact right business.
Yes. Yes, for sure. So if I want to get wedding and event clients, what type of content should I share?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I want to make sure you put your profile. If you are a wedding and event, like if you are responsible for bringing this business in, you want to have your profile in creator mode, LinkedIn creator mode, which is an option and it's free. So you want to put it in LinkedIn creator mode because it immediately then showcases what you create, right?
Mhm.
So before you even get to your content, you want to set that up properly. And I do believe almost every entrepreneur out there should have their profile in creator mode to
Mhm.
take advantage of those kinds of things.
Right.
Um, to be honest, the content is not my biggest focus, and I say that because it's important. But what I care more about is who's on your calendar, right? So you want to put content out there because you want to make sure that you're showcasing what you do. Remember, your LinkedIn profile is about you, so you can talk about your perspective on a particular event, or maybe even your perspective on how you are, planning for an event. Because remember, it's not I'm going to say this, and we've not talked about this. So you tell me if this is not in aligned. But if it were me and I was planning events, I would not only be looking for the next client, I'd be positioning myself with sponsors, right? So
Mhm.
you also want to talk about those kinds of things. If sponsors are a big part of the events you put in
Mhm.
that you do, this is where those relationships happen, right? So you want to be talking about those kinds of things. If you are, and not just from a perspective of promote, 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 but if there's a sponsor that you really want to land for an event, then you want to be showcasing content about them, right? You want to be shining a light on them. If they've done great things, you want to talk about those great things. You want to maybe, again, build those relationships. You know,
Yes.
the people hire you because you have relationships that they don't have,
Right.
right?
Right.
LinkedIn helps you build those relationships.
Right. And I have a lot of speakers that reach out to me, right? Everybody's
Exactly.
and
Yep.
so I get a lot of that.
Hmm.
We just say we'll add you to the list, and
Yeah.
I always want to know like what is it that you do, and we do have a running list
Right.
of people. But about the content, so the important thing is to share content that's educational. So showing what you know,
Mhm.
giving some education to educational tips on things. Then someone's going to say, "Hey, she knows how to do this."
Exactly.
She knows what she's talking
Exactly.
about. And then they're going to reach out to you. And if you're like, I do, obviously I do events, but I also coach. So I have both
Yep.
angles going on. So I
Yeah.
get crazy
Yeah,
on.
and the beautiful thing about LinkedIn is you don't need a lot of content. I mean, if the most you really should ever post on LinkedIn is once a day, because and listen, the minute these words come out of my mouth, I'm sure the algorithm will change, right? But at this moment in time, the algorithm, the more you post, it pulls away from your previous posts if it's more than one a day. So you don't have to have a lot of content, but you want to make a mix of content, like some video content, some plain text content, right? Something with a link, some things without a link, uploading native video, those kinds of things. So you want to have a mix of that content.
Mhm.
And then, I mentioned the PR stuff. If you've had any press on any events you've done, you want to share that stuff. right? You want to make sure you're tagging the sponsors of the events you're talking about, the hosts of the events that you're talking about, the venues of the event you're talking about. You want to tag all these people in that
Right.
content because that brings more eyes to it and it gives you credibility. And it's that credibility that's going to get you that next client.
Right.
Right. Because a lot of people probably have the same, many of them probably have the same like resume type things, right?
Mhm.
It's the credibility and the, people talking about you that is going to make the difference for you. And that can happen on LinkedIn.
And when you tag them, they're going to share it, and
Right.
that's the eyeballs of everyone
Right.
there that's following them that's going to see it.
Exactly.
And then they're going
Exactly.
to say, "Oh, this girl's interesting. Naif Productions looks pretty great. I'm going to follow them." Right. So,
Exactly.
you got to
Mhm.
tag. You said toot your own horn here and talk about what you do. I just found out yesterday that I am um, marked as the top 20 top 18 event profession influencers to follow, and so there's a whole write-up.
Oh, that's so cool. Congratulations. Yes, you want to share that
That
because people
it
see
makes
that's what they look for. We want to do business with the best in the business, and nobody's going to think we're better than we say we are.
right,
We have to showcase these things. Like that's a part of our job as the
right.
CEO of our companies.
Yeah, so and then that makes you look credible, because I remember when I started my business now 14 years ago. I've been doing this for over 30 years, but when I started the business, people really didn't know who I
Mhm.
was, right?
Yep.
And I saw those articles and I would say, one of these days, I've been on several prior to this, but it's
Right.
always nice to start
Right.
the year with something like that. And all of those 17 other people are sharing that they're in this. And so all of their followings who are big
Right.
influencers, which I'm so honored to be a part of it with them,
Right. Right.
they're all seeing this. So
And
tag them. I
yep.
posted it and then tagged them and said, congratulations. So now they're going to be responding to me and saying, thanks so much. Great to be here. That's
Right.
just what we do.
And,
So,
here's the thing, what I love about LinkedIn, and this is a mindset shift that is hard. Some people have to really make a conscious decision to make.
yeah.
Technically, those are all your competitors, right? But
Yeah.
who cares? Who cares?
No.
Because you're going to attract the exact right business, which is why your profile has to speak to exactly what you do. The example that I use is like, if you're a financial planner, and there's a million financial planners, right? But if if your headline says, I help women over 50 create enough wealth to retire at 60, right?
Mhm.
Now you're attracting the exact right business.
Right.
So even if somebody that you've shared it with from your audience, maybe it'll introduce them to somebody else's business and maybe they'll hire them instead of you. That's okay. They weren't meant to be with you, right?
Right.
You want to get your name in front of the exact right people. And unless you are Walmart and looking to sell a billion things a day, this is a great way to build a business.
Right. Right. It is. Okay. So how can I use LinkedIn search to search effectively to find potential clients? So it can be a little overwhelming, right? You're out there, you're
Yeah.
posting, but how do I use LinkedIn effectively to find my ideal clients?
Yeah. So, I like to approach it from a magnetizing standpoint. We've all gotten all of those messages. They connect with you on Monday and Monday afternoon they're pitching you, right? And we don't want to be those people. We want to magnetize our business to us. And this is the strategy is a little bit, there's a long game and a short game, right?
Yeah.
So when part of the work you're doing on LinkedIn, there must be outreach, right? So the outreach is not cold. There never, by the way, needs to be cold outreach. So thinking about a conference you've been to before, you ran a conference before. Are you connected to all of the speakers at that conference? Did you write recommendations for all of the speakers at those conferences? Did you write recommendations on LinkedIn for the people there, right? So these are all ways that you can do outreach to start to connect to these people because those people know other people running other conferences,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
So it's about diving in deeper instead of going wider and just kind of connecting with all these cold people. Doing a deep dive into the connections of people that you're already working with. And it can be also people you're already connected with. But if we really wanted to go beyond all of that and look for clients, like beyond the events that we've looked at and the speakers and the people that host them and all that other things, there's so many other ways to do this. Thinking about organizations you belong to, right? Reaching, join an organization for $500 or $200 and then mine the directory, not from a perspective of you want to talk to everyone, but you want to pick 10 or 15 people out of that directory that you think might be a good client for you. But the outreach is, hey, we're both members of this organization. I'd love to learn more about you.
Right.
Maybe there's an opportunity to collaborate. When
Right.
you so when you go about your LinkedIn outreach with a collaborative mindset, even if the research behind that is, I really want this person to be a client, this is where it starts to become beautiful. When you start pitching cold people, they shut down immediately. I shut down immediately, right? So even if you have the best thing in the world that is going to be valuable for me, I don't know that. I'm going to shut you down. You've
Right.
got to find a warm way to connect with me. So looking for those kind of opportunities, and then asking people, right? Asking people, who else do you know? Here's what I do. Who do you know? Is a great type of conversation to be having on LinkedIn.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's going to get you. That's where we magnetize it, and this is also where the PR comes in, because as you're building, you have a podcast. I have a podcast. I wish I told you every morning I woke up and there was 10 people messaging me that they listen to my podcast and they think all these things. It doesn't happen that often, right? Or it doesn't happen every day. So if
Right.
you're doing this, if there's a podcast you want to be on because you think your ideal clients are going to be listening to that show, right? Connect with the hosts of the podcast, connect with the writers who write about what your conference is going to be about, and look to be a resource for them. Because if you can get in front of their audiences, this is again how you're magnetizing business to you. Right? Like if I met somebody listening right now, right? If I met somebody listening right now in the back of an Uber or in Macy's, right? And said, I do LinkedIn, blah, blah, blah. They're going to be like, okay, whatever, right? But if you're listening now, Annette saying, I've known Karen, you should listen to her, right? So you
Right.
get the credibility of the journalist when
Right.
you do these kinds of things. So that's how we magnetize these clients, as opposed to going out and cold calling and spamming the network.
Yes, 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 for sure. I wanted to say something about that. It was so good. So I had somebody so if you're trying to reach corporate, right? So people that you want to kind of reach out to would be, you can reach out, even though corporations, I've gotten many events from corporations who have an internal team, but they just can't, there's too much going on, right? They have too much work and they need some help. So they've brought in an outside event company. So connect with people in HR, right? There's a lot of assistants that do events. You're not going to know, right? You're not going to know that they're actually running events. But if you look for like the senior vice president of marketing or events, or the director of events, or the manager of events at corporations, if there's a specific company that you want to look for, work with, go to that company, see who is in the company, right?
Yes.
In a list, and then you can just connect with those people and start conversations. You guys, you have to build relationships. It doesn't happen overnight.
Exactly right.
I did have someone, I love when someone is from a corporation that I didn't reach out to, they reached out to me. Now it's like kind of a bigger open door because so I have a guy from HR, from a large company. He's in HR. So I'm going to build a relationship and I'm going to say, hey, how can I help you guys? And what, are you doing events? Do you need any help? Do you know anybody who does? Right? That sort of thing. So just think about those types of things and getting into, the companies that you want to work at and see who works there and start building relationships with them.
And another way to find these people are event apps. So if your event is using an app, right? If an event you're at is using an app, go into the app, find out who the organizers are, find out who the speakers are. Like use the app, build relationships with the app. These apps are gold for us because again, they're not cold outreach, right? It's not cold outreach. And I was just thinking of something when you were talking about this. And I know it's a couple years past this, but I want to just share this because it was such an important thing. I had a client one time who was an event planner, and right at the pandemic, he was like, I don't know what to do, blah, blah. I go, you know what you need to do? You need to add the word virtual into everything you do. And within like a week, he had a corporation reach out to him and offered him a job running virtual events for like double the salary that he thought he was going to.
I know. I made a lot of money.
We don't think like, that's what I mean by think about what they're looking for. You want to be putting out there what you think they're looking for, or maybe even what they, like ask people, what are you searching for? right? So
Right.
when you talk about search, ask them what they're searching for so you can use those exact words. I would still be using the word virtual because I think people are still wanting a virtual component to their events. At least in
Yes.
my experience, many of them want a virtual component.
Yes.
So I think if you talk about that, and that's why that's the kind of thing you might want to talk about even in your about section, right? Like how it was exciting, how you took on the challenge of bringing events virtual in the early 20, in 2020 and 2021, and now and how passionate you were about that, about
Right.
making sure events continue to happen even though we weren't physically going to them. Right, that's part of your story, but people are going to want to hear that. I would also go back to the whole, you know when you're doing these searches, when you're connecting with these people on the apps or through the conferences, connect with the sponsors.
Yeah.
Connect with the sponsors. Go to the events that the sponsors are sponsoring and build relationships with the sponsors
Yeah.
because you never know where that's going to pay off for you. And that's where, you know, it's this is where you can stand out from everybody else.
Right, right. So it's funny that you talk about the virtual. So when again, you always assume that everybody knows what you do. They don't. They don't
Right.
always. And I've been talking about what I do, and I figure everyone knows what I do.
Right, they're sick of hearing it, but they're not. They only hear a little bit
But
of it.
they're,
Yeah.
so when COVID hit, obviously our businesses were shut down. Someone was posting about some other people and what they do. People were trying to promote other people's companies because just to help other people, right?
Right.
This is what I know and who does this.
Mhm.
So, and I wrote to him and said, it was on the Instagram stories thing. It was one after the next. And I said, and you forgot Naif Productions. And he goes, I didn't know that you were doing that. And it was virtual events. And I was like, holy crap. Like, how can nobody know that? So I literally changed my marketing
Yep.
instantly,
Yep.
started, and then I went to all my clients and said, we can help you take your live event to a virtual platform. I'll just consult with you if you're interested. And most of them, all of them pretty much hired us because it was way too complicated. They didn't
Right.
know how to
Right.
do this virtual thing.
Right.
But the point there is you have to talk about what you do
Mhm.
because people aren't just going to guess, right? And I
Exactly.
myself, after all these years and all the coaching that I do,
Right.
I didn't think
And
that
you're
they,
probably thinking, of course I do virtual events,
of
I
course
do
they
events.
do, right?
And they were like, "Oh, really?" Yeah, I know, it's exactly it. And
Yeah.
that is, it's our job as the CEOs to be continually telling people what it is we do.
You have to. So if you have a problem talking about yourself, you got to get over it because you have
Yes.
to get over if you're going to
You
own.
do. You do if you wanna have a profitable
Yeah,
business.
exactly. Okay. So is it beneficial to join LinkedIn groups related to wedding and events?
I would love to say resoundingly yes, but I'm not gonna say that because LinkedIn groups are not all that active.
Yeah.
And
Has that changed like it
no.
used to be or no?
No, they've never been all that valuable. And I don't know why that is. And I keep hearing that they're changing it. And I keep talking to people and they say they're making changes and then they don't make changes. And at the end of the day, if I pulled up a random LinkedIn group right now, just any random group and scrolled through it, I bet I can show you post after post after post after post that was posted with no engagement on it. So
Yeah.
people are posting, but nobody's engaging. So
Yeah.
here's the answer to that though. If the way to leverage a LinkedIn group is find a group that you think your ideal clients are in and be the person commenting and sharing because
Yeah.
nobody else is doing that, right?
Right.
So
That's a
be
gold
that
mine.
person and
Yeah,
then can
exactly.
use it to connect with people. Hey, we're both members of this group. So use that. Like I said, never cold connect. You can use groups to connect. But again, you've got to do it in a way that is it feels warm and doesn't feel like, hey, we're both members of, the United States. Let's connect, right? So,
Yeah.
you want to make sure you want to do something, we're both members of this group. And I see you just did an event in Texas. I just did an event in Dallas, blah, blah, blah. Like something
Yeah.
that
Something that
makes
connects
them
you.
see you actually read their profile, right?
Right.
You can
Right.
use groups to mine the members, but the content and the posting is just not going to get you any. It's not really all that valuable right now.
Yeah, it's funny because obviously I haven't done a lot, and it's that you say that I feel bad, but I'm going to start doing it because it's such a gold mine that nobody's posting or commenting. You're going to create yourself as an expert and people are going to say, they're going to notice you. It's good
Exactly.
that other planners notice who you are. It has
Right.
definitely helped me in my business.
Yeah.
So I have done that on Facebook a lot because I am on Facebook a lot. I know we're talking LinkedIn, but as far as groups go, I've gone in and I've made comments and commented on things, and other people saw that, oh, she kind of knows what she's talking about. And they asked me to be on
Right.
their event or speak
Right.
at their event. So those are things that you can, get opportunities. Speak at an event. I'm speaking in at the wedding. Oh gosh, I forgot the name of it now. That's really bad. It's in Orlando in June. Wedding Insider, and it's like a whole gigantic. There's a whole lot of wedding planners that are going to be there, which are key to me because I have
Right.
a program to help them start.
Right. I would be using their app from today, or the minute
Yeah,
they make that app live, I'd be in that app
in
connecting
that
people.
app
You're
for
not going to be
sure.
able to meet with all them live on that during the event.
No, no, I know.
Yeah.
Okay,
Um,
good.
yeah,
Yeah,
no, I love that. And here's the thing too, the difference between doing this on Facebook and LinkedIn, and the reason why LinkedIn is a better place to do this is because on Facebook, even if we do an amazing job with our Facebook profile, it's still not as good as our LinkedIn profile. So, like when you do outreach to people on Facebook or on email or call them, right? They don't really know who you are. But when you do outreach on LinkedIn, the strength of your
yes,
profile supports that outreach. And
yes.
that was what makes the difference. They get to see more whatever it is you want them to know about you. You put on that profile, and it's going to accelerate people's ability to reason to want to connect.
Yeah, that's a very, very good point. Very good point. Okay, so should I consider running LinkedIn ads to target wedding and event planners?
Yes, why not? I mean, here's the thing. LinkedIn ads get a little bit of a bad rap because they're more expensive than Facebook ads. But here's the thing about ads. They're either, if you are running ads and they're not profitable, then you're doing it wrong, right? Like, so it doesn't matter if your ad costs $100 or $10 if your product is $5,000, right? So LinkedIn's, as a marketer, I get frustrated with Facebook ads a lot because I don't know that necessarily that my audience is there, but I also, you're at the whim of Facebook. They're blocking people, they're blocking your ad account, they're denying ads. LinkedIn doesn't do any of that. They
Mm,
also have crazy, robust demographics about you because we tell them these
yeah,
things, right?
right.
So they have crazy, robust demographics. So you can really dive deep into targeting. I am not a LinkedIn ad expert. I get help with it, but I know a lot about it because I want to have my fingers in it.
Mhm.
I just had a meeting today with my team about ramping up our LinkedIn ads as we move into the new year. Um, I think they're, some of the best ads out there, and done right, you're going to get lower click cost per click than you have on Facebook if you do it right. Um, but but here's the thing: it's a bigger. You can go into Facebook with a $5 a day budget. You have to go into LinkedIn probably with a $50 or $100 a day budget.
Yeah.
So you have to think a little bit bigger. But if you're coming at this with a higher ticket opportunity, then you just have to shift your mindset. Your people are there. The targeting is there. It's amazing. It's an amazing platform for ads. You just need to know what you're doing so you're not throwing money out the window.
Yeah, that's the thing. A lot of my wedding and event planners are starting out. So, my advice is build your business first, get
Hmm.
your list built, build your foundation
Yeah.
first before you start throwing money out there. I obviously make money now, so I can put some money out. And if
Right.
it's thrown away, then okay, my
Right.
business isn't gonna
Right.
fold.
I mean, there's a learning curve. We know
Yeah.
we have to sometimes invest in that learning
Yeah,
curve.
and the tip is to hire someone who knows what they're doing. I
Yes.
do like to
Yes.
do this.
Yes. Yes.
Don't try to do it on your own
Yes.
because you're just gonna be really
And
thrown.
I have to tell you something, Annette. I have a hard time finding people that want to do LinkedIn ads.
Really?
Yeah, like a lot of people do Facebook ads, Instagram ads, TikTok ads, YouTube ads, and not a lot of people want to do LinkedIn ads. So, if you want to do LinkedIn ads, reach out to me.
Yeah.
Let me know. But,
Because
and I do have people now that do it, but it's
I'm
there.
sure if you post it out on LinkedIn, you're gonna get lots of people that
No, you would be surprised. You'd be surprised because
really?
you are afraid of them.
Oh my
But
god.
honestly, they're amazing. And you do have to have a LinkedIn business account. You have to run them from your company page. But so what? I mean, your company page doesn't matter if it's not your company page is not all that valuable except for the ads, right? So, but you can now with LinkedIn ads, you can now, like if you have a company page for Naif Productions and you, Annette, post something on LinkedIn, your company can now sponsor and promote that post. So
Oh,
there's so LinkedIn ads are getting more creative too. So I can talk about that forever. It's a lot
yeah.
of there's a lot of good things you can do.
Okay, good, good. I know we were dabbling in it for my workshop that I did, last couple months ago.
Mhm.
So we have a question from Lorraine's asking about hashtags on LinkedIn.
Yeah. So, I mean, use them, but manage your expectations, right? There was a study that came out that listen, first of all, LinkedIn doesn't really ever share information about this stuff. So
Yeah.
there's beautiful people that do a lot of research on this stuff and then publish their research. And there was research that came out recently that said like 3 hashtags is the sweet spot on a post. So use them because why not? But I don't know that I want you to just manage your expectations on it. You
Yeah.
can also use it though to curate content, right? Like, so you can use the hashtag a turn of events on LinkedIn. Chances are nobody else is going to use that. So if I click on that hashtag, it's going to pull up all of your posts about hashtag a turn of events, right? So
Yeah. I hashtag that Naif Productions and my name always.
right,
Like
right.
those ongoing things. Okay, so how can I use LinkedIn to network with other professionals? And I think we probably touched on this
Yeah.
in the wedding and event industry.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there's also, we also can cross connect with people, right?
Right.
Um, I will give you an example. I was over the holidays, I was reading my Kindle. I was going on the Kindle app to download another book. I saw another book. I went, wow, this book, I need to read this book. I pulled the book, I read chapter 1 of the book and went to LinkedIn to connect with the author and said, I need to know you and I need to interview you on my show. And she's like, yeah, let's talk. Right. So cross pollinate,
Yeah.
right? Cross pollinate. Like if it's authors that you like, connect with them on LinkedIn. The podcast host you listen to, connect with them on LinkedIn. There are Facebook, if you're in a Facebook group, almost all Facebook groups have a hey, let's all connect on LinkedIn today day, right? Can use that. And I don't think you need to connect with everybody, by the way, but cherry pick, right? Cherry pick, go through that and see who do you think that needs to, you would like to be connected to. But here's the thing. I personally don't want you to connect with anybody that you don't have an intention to ultimately get on the phone with. So that's why I like to keep this micro targeted. If you connect with 5 or maybe 10 people each week, your goal is to follow up with them, and actually look to get on the phone with them.
Yeah.
Even if you're doing LinkedIn ads, if you're doing a LinkedIn ad and the person, opts in for your freebie and it came from your LinkedIn ad, go over and connect with them on LinkedIn, right? Like go deep on LinkedIn, not wide. And that's where you're going to see the most value.
Yeah. That's a very good point. A follow up to the hashtag. One of our Facebook users said LinkedIn doesn't like many hashtags used, right?
I mean, LinkedIn doesn't nobody really knows for sure what LinkedIn likes and doesn't like, right? Like I said, the less is more on LinkedIn. Consistent, to every day or every other day or 5 days a week, consistently use the same hashtags or the same, and consistently post, but it's not like Instagram where it's not a hashtag driven
Mhm.
platform at all.
Yeah.
At
Yeah.
all. There
Yeah.
are people that can follow hashtags, but to be honest, if you follow a hashtag, wedding planners, there might be
Million. There's
4 million.
millions.
Exactly. I don't know how valuable that. Like that's what I'm saying. Manage your expectations around the value of
The
hashtags.
good thing to do with hashtags that I find is if you're doing an event, you use the hashtag for the event, then you get to see all the
Yes.
engagement from the event and yourself, right? Your business, your name, all of that. That's where I find the value in hashtags. Otherwise, if I'm doing event PROFS is a big one in our industry. It's a gazillion things,
Right.
right? But
Right.
if I'm looking for inspiration on something like Instagram, I'm usually pretty good about going over and getting the hashtags information because then I'm looking for inspiration or
Right.
something, that I'm looking at. So I use it for that. But yeah, I've never really kind of known what they're for.
Yeah, they're not all that needed on LinkedIn. I mean,
Yeah,
you can use them and you probably should use them. And
yeah,
use them, by the way, you can also use them, pepper them into your like newsletters or your posts that you put on there. There's other places that you can use them as well.
right, right. So Bonnie has a question. When you ask someone to, connect with you on LinkedIn, how do you write your invitation?
Yeah. So Bonnie, like I mentioned a couple times already, this should never be a reason to do it cold. So just be genuine. Just be genuine. I'm coming to I'm coming to the event next week, and I see you're speaking on this topic. I'm really looking forward to your talk. I'm looking forward to, to meeting you at this event. And I'd love to connect with you ahead of time, right? Just be honest. I actually have, I don't know if I can reach them, but I actually have a stack of Dunkin' Donuts gift cards that I bring with me to events, and I give them to people that connect with me on LinkedIn ahead of time. And I am not going to go broke giving out Dunkin' Donut gift cards, because
Yeah.
people don't do this, right?
Right.
So,
Right.
so be intentional about who you want to connect with, and then be real about it. Be
Right.
real about it, right? Like, and tell them why you want to connect with them. And if you're just connecting with them, again, I connected with this author and said, "Oh my gosh, I'm on chapter 2 of your book, and I can't put it down. I want to know more about you, and I want to dive into this conversation." And she was like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, let's talk." Right? So be genuine, and you
Yeah.
can do this. Think big, right? You don't have to be looking. I didn't go to her assistant. I went to
Right.
her.
Right. And look at their profile, read their profile.
Right.
If you guys went to the same college, mention that, right? Or
Yep.
if you know,
Yes.
some interest
Yep.
that's in their profile. I've had many people reach out and say, I see that you're so successful in real estate. Well, guess what? I don't do real estate. So you obviously didn't read my profile. So
Right.
that kind of like, I get so many, and this is one of my questions to you is, how do you manage? I get so many people that write me emails and I can't keep up with it.
Delete them. Delete them.
I know it's like I
It's
do
not, but I would bet that I really truly believe that used properly, LinkedIn is your money tree. And I refer to those as the weeds. Do
yeah,
not ignore your money tree because there's weeds around it. Pull the
yeah,
weeds, delete them, and move on.
yeah,
If the only thing in your inbox are those people pitching you, nonsense, what that tells me is that you're not in your inbox enough, right? That you're not starting conversations and having conversations. So start conversations, have conversations. And when you stay on top of this stuff, yeah, a couple times a week, maybe even a couple times a day, you might get some of these just I mean, people get through my radar sometimes, but I try to have a pretty good radar about, like, why do you want to connect with me? And I just say no. If you asked me 5 years ago, I would say I connect with everyone. What do I care?
yeah,
Maybe they know me and I don't know them, right? And that's
right,
okay. But
right.
now I'm a little bit more choosy, because I think that there are a lot of people that are just looking to pitch me, and if they pitch me immediately, I unconnect immediately.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Oh, I
stay
hate
on
that.
top of it and
No,
ignore
I
that
think it's
and be authentic.
automatic. I think it's that you connect and then boom, you get
Right.
this automatic
Yep.
email. That's so annoying. And I
Yeah.
just
And
don't
by
know.
the way, I get them. Like, would you like help on LinkedIn? I'm like, oh yeah, that's what I want. Somebody who has like, you clearly didn't read my
That's
profile.
hysterical. That's very funny. Okay, so should we use LinkedIn to promote special offers or discounts for wedding and event services?
Yes, why not? I mean, to do it in the normal course of business, right? You don't want it to be all promoting,
Right.
but the beautiful thing about LinkedIn, as opposed to Instagram and Facebook, it's all business, right? It's all business. Like, you're there to promote your business. You're there. It's a B2B platform. Even if your product is B2C, there's still people in your world that are B2B focused, right? So publicity, for example. So it's okay to talk about your products and services. Like you said, people didn't even know you did that, right? So if you're not talking about it, then what are you doing? I
Right.
mean, I would manage the how often you do that. And LinkedIn doesn't is it like many other platforms. LinkedIn is not very they don't show your post a lot if there's a link in the post to something like that. So I would maybe put your discounts in your featured item, your
Yeah.
featured news for that week.
Right.
Or, do things like that. Make it really easy for people to know this is going on without you just constantly promoting it.
Right. If we're going to include a link, we always take the link and put it in a post, right?
Mhm.
So you've posted your post, and underneath where people are going to make comments, we
Yeah.
put the link in there. Is
Mhm.
that bad? I
No,
see it.
I don't think it's bad, and I think it's better, but I think it's all kind of tricking the algorithm, and the algorithm changes every
I
day.
know it's
So
hard
I
to.
hesitate to even say the best way to do that stuff. That's why, for me, the way I measure my success on LinkedIn is not how many eyes are on my content, it's how many calls are on my calendar.
So let's talk about calls. Let's just give a little brief, like, how do I get somebody on a call? Just, how many times do I have to say something? Like, you don't want to just say, hi, let's get on a call. So
Right.
what's
Right.
brief
Yep.
advice on that?
Yeah. So I'm trying to think of where this woman that I met recently was from. Oh, I know what. Yeah, I know what it was. So it was somebody who, somebody on my team said, Karen, you should really be on her podcast. I'm like, all right, I think she's got a good audience. I said, okay. So, I get a lot of cold pitches from my podcast, and I don't accept a lot of them because I get so many of them. I don't know who these people are. And I tend to just invite people. And I recognize that as somebody that likes to also be interviewed on podcasts. So what I did was I checked out her podcast. I happened to notice that, and if you're listening now, you know my secret. But I happened to notice that one of my prior clients was interviewed on her podcast. So I listened to that for like 5 or 10 minutes, and then I connected with her and said, "Oh my gosh, I'm listening to this. So and so was my client. I love this thing. I'd love to connect and get to know you." And she's like, "Oh," and she replied back, "Oh my God, me too. Let's talk. Drop in your link."
Yeah.
So I'm not. You don't have to picture if you do this right.
Yeah.
You don't have to ask them 4 times to get on a call.
Right.
Right? If you have a profile that positions you as if you're peers with the most influential people in your industry, you don't have to chase people.
Right.
They come to you. I mean, do you have your calendar link, for example, in your I think I have mine in my featured section right now. Do you have your calendar link in your featured section? I have somebody, there was a Friday afternoon where I was sitting there and somebody booked a call on my calendar for like 5 o'clock on a Friday. I was like, oh, wow. Okay. I'm like, all right, whatever. She did not know who I was at noon, saw me commenting on somebody else's content on LinkedIn, checked out my profile, easily saw a way to get on my calendar, saw that I had a calendar available appointment for that day, booked a call, and joined my high ticket program.
Wow.
Full within an hour of like 4 hours of not knowing who I am. Right.
That's
So
amazing.
I say this not to impress you or to brag, but to tell you when you do this, I mean, anybody that's listening to this could do the exact same thing.
Right.
I had the profile that positioned me as somebody that could support her, and I made it easy for her to contact me. And she got on my calendar and was a client within a couple of hours.
Christy, we got to check if I have that. Christy's on here with all the questions. Okay, that's such good advice. But Christy, let's check that. Okay, so another big piece here is how can I use LinkedIn's publishing platform to showcase my expertise?
Yeah. So LinkedIn's publishing platform, LinkedIn says it's the number one content platform on the planet. So number one, let's use it then, right? If it's the number one content platform on the planet. There's LinkedIn newsletters, right? So we can use then that's part of the publishing platform.
Right.
And the first time you create a LinkedIn newsletter, you can invite your entire list to it, so that your entire connections to it, so that they follow it. And what's great about a LinkedIn newsletter is when you put out when you publish a LinkedIn newsletter, it goes into their inbox, their email inbox, not just their LinkedIn inbox. So that's kind of nice. And then you can also publish content. Again, we were having this conversation at a time where that content is not being seen by a lot of eyeballs.
Yeah.
But it's real estate on LinkedIn. So if you're publishing content every week, publish it on LinkedIn. I probably wouldn't do it the same week. I probably would do it, if you're publishing content January 1st on your website, I'd probably wait till like January 15th or 20th to publish it on LinkedIn. Let the Google crawlers index it back to your website first, and then publish that same exact content on LinkedIn. You don't have to really change anything. I've asked people that know SEO better than I do, and they say they don't consider that duplicate content. So
that can be a blog, right?
It can be a blog. It can be the show notes of your podcast,
Okay. So Christy, we're going to do that too. Make a note. That's good. That's good. Okay, so how can I track the success of my LinkedIn efforts to attracting wedding and event clients?
Well, I mean, again, it comes down to your strategy, right? My background is IT, so I definitely have geek in the brain.
Yeah.
And I have spreadsheets for my spreadsheets, so
yeah.
So I pretty much know where all my clients come from. So at least the higher ticket ones. So I think that you can look at things like if you're doing ads, you can look at, make sure that where the opt-ins are coming from, or the clients, when you're doing that, make sure that you're carefully marking all of that. When you when you're having these conversations, here's what I do, who do you know, can track that, make notes about those kinds of things so that
Right.
where this comes from. I think, unfortunately, on LinkedIn, it's more of a manual thing. I mean, there are ways you can do this. If you're using LinkedIn Sales Navigator, you can create lists, and you can put people on a list based on who that refer them to you. So there's
Mhm.
ways that you can do it on LinkedIn, but I think, honestly, we're not using LinkedIn to sell a pen. We're using LinkedIn to find a distributor that wants to buy 1,000 of our pens. So chances are we know where that person came from that bought 1,000 of our pens.
Mhm. Great. Excellent. Excellent advice. Okay. So there's one thing I like to do. It's a lightning round question. And so if you don't mind, I'm going to
Go for
ask
it.
some few questions from you. So who is someone who is inspiring you at the moment and why?
I am diving deep into Brendan Burchard this week.
Uh-huh.
Just
He's
from a
a good
mindset perspective and a high performance mindset, every year that goes by, it doesn't get easier to be sitting at my desk for the number of hours I do. So I want to be showing up in a better way every hour I'm sitting at my desk. So Brendan Burchard is high on my list this
yeah,
week.
he's a good one. He's a good one. What is the best advice you've ever received?
Oh boy. The best advice I've ever received, the best advice I've ever received is probably don't like something around not worrying about the people that are the haters,
Yeah.
because if you have no haters, you're probably not real. Like if your podcast has all 5-star reviews, it's probably not legit. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? If everybody, not everybody's going to love you.
Yeah.
So the minute you start getting those, that means you're for real business. And so that to me was a great way, again, from my mindset to be
That's
able
a
to
good
move
one.
forward.
Yeah, not I remember how heartbroken I was when I found out there was someone in high school who didn't like me. I was like, "How is that possible?" Like, I
Right,
love everybody.
right. I
What
know.
happened, right? I remember the first time. It's so funny. So what are you most looking forward to this year?
You know what? I'm most looking forward to getting out more and doing more events and things like that. I think that last year was a foray into more live events, and this year I plan to be at a lot more live events, and I'm really looking forward to that.
That's great. Yeah, I'm trying to do that as well. I want to speak a little more and do that, but also attend. I need to
Mhm.
network. I feel like I haven't networked in a long time because once you start, your business is going and you don't have to network as much. I was a maniac when I first started, which,
Right,
we all do
right.
'cause we're growing the business. So what's your favorite tool to use in your business?
Oh, my favorite tool to use in my business is probably Zapier, where you connect things that make things talk to each other. Because whatever I can automate, I am looking to automate. So I have, a lot of zaps that connect things so that I can, not everything has to be seen by me.
Yeah, Zapier is good. Mine is anything that has to do with like AI, Chat GPT.
Yeah, I am loving ChatGPT
I
these
mean,
days.
it is if you are not using Chat GPT or another one that's actually linked to LinkedIn that you might be interested in is called Evy AI, EVY AI. Friend of mine created it, and I've been dabbling with it on LinkedIn. It's pretty amazing.
Oh,
So
I don't know it. I'll have to check it out.
yeah, check it out. It's pretty awesome, you guys. Christy will put that in the chat. EVY AI. I think it's .com. So it's you Chrome, you get the Chrome extension and you
Mhm.
click it and there's a blue little button and you can click it and it can write posts for you. There's no reason. You just read them over. But honestly, I just did one to practice the other day and it was unbelievable. Like
Awesome.
I know it's really quick and easy. So there's really no reason why we are not creating content
Right.
these.
By the way, another trick for using ChatGPT and AI on LinkedIn, a great way to get yourself out there and just to pay back on LinkedIn is writing recommendations. You can
Yes,
just take the about section of
yes.
somebody, throw it into ChatGPT, and ask and say, and it knows me, so I can say, I'm Karen Yankovich, and here's the LinkedIn about section for Annette Naif. Please write me a great recommendation for her,
Yeah.
and then you edit it, and
AI
then
Yeah,
it's
it does the
happening.
same thing. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, what did you just say at the end?
It's amazing.
Yeah,
It's happening. It makes it happen because otherwise it says I should really do this, and it doesn't ever actually
it
happen.
doesn't. I know I'm bad
Yeah,
because I have to think. I have to sit there and think and,
right, right.
it's good. All right, so one last question. What's one piece of advice you'd give to wedding and event planners just starting out?
You know what? I am going to say think big. Think big. If you think that you're looking for $1,000 client, look for $5,000 client, because they're out there, and so many people just starting out spin their wheels and they get burnt out in any industry.
Right.
And if you're coming to this, I would imagine you're at least coming to this with a lot of passion. You're probably coming to it with a lot of expertise, even if it's your first week with the title event planner. You're probably not brand new. So think bigger and know that you've got the expertise, and get over the imposter syndrome, and use LinkedIn to get those bigger things. Show up like you're worthy of those big fat contracts.
Exactly. And listen, don't follow what everyone else is doing. Stay the course. Do what, if I was to look, because, it looks like, oh gosh, she's doing this and she's got that and she's so successful. Don't look at that. Just stay your course. You'll get to where you want to be as long as you're consistent and you're visible. You have to be out there, and LinkedIn's one of those places to be. So very great. So how can we find you? Such great information.
Yeah, I'm at Karen Yankovich across all social media. So it's hard not to be able to find me.
Yeah.
And then if you're new to LinkedIn, or you're not sure how to do it, or you're not sure where to start, we created an assessment tool a couple of months ago, which you can find at linkedinquiz.com. Okay. And it just gets you started. It helps you understand a little bit about how some people are more corporate and like they like to talk about white papers, and other people want to talk more about, the relationship and a more heartfelt. So it helps you understand how to get started. It also helps you understand what to watch out for based on your marketing style. But because it's so important to me because your vibe is such a big part of this, we've actually also created visualizations that go with each marketing style to help you just put your mindset in the right place when you start your day to get out there and do this work.
Yes. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much. If you guys enjoyed this and you got some great tips, please share this and like it and share it with people so that they can also get some great value out of this. Karen, you're the best. Thank you so much.
It's been so fun. I'm so glad to do this with you, Annette. Thanks for having me.
I always love seeing you, and we haven't talked in so long, but I'm so happy to see you. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. We'll see you soon. Do some big things in your business this year, 2024. Some great stuff. Get out there, get visible, and join me over at my Facebook group, Event Planner Society. We'll see you later. Take care, y'all.